That's right. And speaking of things that are free and thinking of a little seed that was planted in the ground a long time ago by Vince McMahon, Monday Night Raw was this week, as it is every week. Of course, it is this week. And we're going to talk about whatever it is that you watched.
The weekly Monday Night Raw happened again this week.
Well, Monday Night Raw happened last night as we are recording here today. Now, this whole show is out of whack, and the wind has really picked up again. Man.
Well, at least you can't hear my next door neighbor ladies, as Aunt Lola used to say, the neighbor lady. She's got a generator, a gas-powered generator now sitting out back of her back kitchen window and with a hose or a cord run in the window.
Vince McMahon reportedly made an appearance at Raw, and a lot of people went crazy about it. And then word came out about his appearance. But let's take a step back. What are your thoughts about?
Don't say it like that. My God, his appearance. Oh my, he frightened children. The skin was melting off his face, and he had werewolf hands. No, you say it like that he was in some fashion hideous or deformed or not presentable to polite society. He's just changed apparently one of his longtime personal grooming habits, which has blown my mind. But the rumor is, and there's a picture going around, it's not real, we can talk about that in a minute, but the rumor is that Vince was sporting quite the mustache, from what the eyewitnesses on the ground were able to report, with stunned astonishment in their voices. You asked me before we went on the air, you said, what would cause this change of his, lifelong fascination with grinding all the fucking skin off his face in order to shave 6 times a day? Do we know, has he been in a skiing accident? Were his arms paralyzed?
I was going to actually say, maybe you do understand. Why did you grow a mustache in 91?
Well, actually,
you were home more often.
I didn't shave for like 3 or 4 weeks because I could not shave because I wasn't doing television. And then when I shaved most of it off, I left that, and I showed my wife at the time as a rib, like, look at this, and she liked it. And so I kept it for about 6 weeks till I figured out a way to sneak it off.
Well, I'm sure whoever Vince is with likes whatever he brings to the table. But maybe that's what it is. He's home, he's bored, he's shaving like usual. Hey, what the hell, for the first time ever, I'll grow some facial hair.
It didn't look to me like Vince was just doing it to be presentable to the outside world. It looked like he wanted to be fucking groomed. I mean, but at the same time, he's not been sitting at home collecting stamps. He's been, talking to the Saudis at least.
Yeah. Plotting. Yeah.
Plotting, going through the bylaws and the forelaws and the in-laws of the corporate structure of how he's going to take back over. So I don't know that, he would have still broken that. And plus, he's got his electric razor in his briefcase. When he opens his briefcase to work, there is his book and his pencils and his paperwork and his electric shaver.
And for the first time in forever, the briefcase is where?
In his house with him.
He doesn't have to bring the briefcase anywhere. When you are not bringing your briefcase to work, you don't use it still in your house. You put it to the side and gathers dust.
I've seen him open wherever he is, in the limousine, in his house, in his office. He opens up a briefcase and takes shit out of it.
Are you surprised, if this is true, if Vince grew facial hair, it would be just a mustache?
Oh, I mean, let's not go crazy now. We can't make, fucking Axl Rose suddenly become, goddamn Winnie the Pooh.
It's the opposite. If he lets it all grow, it looks like, wow, he just let it grow. He really doesn't give a shit. He's in a new phase of his life. If he's selectively decided to leave a mustache like Jim Cornette did in 91, it's a decision on his part.
Well, he can't I don't think Vince has the capability to look to anybody like he doesn't give a shit. He would never allow that to happen. At some point, when they have to call AAA to fucking put a winch on him to pull him up and wipe his ass, he's still going to want to fucking get that haircut and make sure that his makeup is applied.
What do you think's thicker, his mustache or his eyebrows?
I wish we could get a real picture. Can we talk about that for a second? Apparently somebody doctored a picture of him with just a little scrawny mustache.
Just a little like stylish, like, hello, girls. Mustache.
Hello, ladies. A Gomez Adams type of thing, but that's fake going around. But I can't picture it. I don't know what style it would be or what color now it would be, or if is it gray and Vince's normal, kind of blackish.
Whatever he colors it, yeah.
What the fuck is going on? I don't know.
What do you think about him being at Raw just in general? Again, this is the first time he's been there in a while. He was ousted from the company, allegedly, or he resigned, I guess we can say for sure, because of a sex scandal, including sex with talent. And all of a sudden, here he is backstage at the show with a mustache.
Well, he was... Oh, come on now. You keep going back.
Hello, girls. Remember me?
It's fucking Ron Jeremy's in prison and got Alzheimer's, so now Vince has to take over the fucking legacy? Well, no, first of all, everybody did freak out, and I guess they had to, on PWInsider.com, they had to put up a disclaimer that Vince was not there in an official capacity. He did not run creative. He did not produce the show from the back. That's where the story came out that he was sporting quite the mustache, but he was there. And I believe this to be true because it probably is, to visit John Cena, and they're in Boston. It's right up the road. It's Cena's hometown. I'm sure remember, I think I've said, if Vince McMahon, and this was a couple months ago, if Vince McMahon's come back and want to sell the company, you're going to see a lot of fucking stars show up. And they couldn't get The Rock, but they've gotten almost everybody else. And now here Cena is back after he did the year-end SmackDown, did a great number. Now Vince is probably going to have dinner with John Cena in his hometown, maybe at the Chinese place they like, Kowloon's or whatever. And he's already obviously going to be at WrestleMania. I believe that would be a meeting and just a reunion that Vince would like to have, and he'd bop up to Boston from the greater New York metropolitan area to do that.
Any issue, though, from a company perspective, of having this dirty pervert back in the locker room?
Come on. You know what? As far as I'm concerned, to be quite honest with you, I think Vince McMahon would say, if I'm going to stop by the fucking network television production that I'm a majority owner of and meet the goddamn biggest current star that is available to me and do business for WrestleMania and the Saudis and who knows what else, that fucking locker room can get mad or get glad and kiss my big fat white ass. That's what he thinks.
Do you think he would ever call his own ass fat? Or would he see that as weakness?
I think he would only call his ass fat if he was directing someone to kiss it. Just to make it more demeaning to the kissee, or the kisser, as it were, instead of the kissee. But yeah, I mean, I don't think he gives a shit what the locker room rank and file by and large would think when this is billions of dollars you're talking about. And I think Cena's probably going to be a pretty important part of this over the next several months at least.